Hey guys, this is Jim. I just got a great big box of wrestling magazines from my grandma. She brought them for me from Brantford. Her niece picked them up for me at a yard sale. The guy wanted $20 for the whole box, so they picked them up for me, and grandma just brought them home to me today from Brantford. There's a lot of them in here now. Some of them aren't all in the best condition, but then there's some that's in really good condition, but the whole box is like $20, and they're all from like the early 80s era. There's like Sports Review Wrestling, The Wrestler, Inside Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, Wrestling's Main Event, stuff like that, and they're all like early 80s. I know my grandma said there were some 70s ones in here, but they're not. They're all like from the early 80s. So, cause I know 70s wrestling magazines are hard to come by, and I have some in my collection, like some from the 70s, but I don't have as many as I do 80s. 80s are a little bit more common to come by than the 70s ones, but these are still badass, nonetheless, if they're even early 80s. These are still really cool to have. I'm glad to have them. And I was happy to get these today, so I figured I'd show you all the ones that are in here, like by the covers and that in year, and I'll show you all the ones I got in this video, so let's get into it. So the first one is Sports Review Wrestling, January 1984, with Andre the Giant, Abdul the Butcher, and Nick Bockwinkel on the cover. There's one with Roddy Piper from June 1983. Sports Review Wrestling, January 1982, Backlund and Don Morocco. And you got Women's Wrestling, Apartment Wrestling is what they called it. They were popular in the magazines back in the 70s, early 80s era of wrestling. 1981 Annual with Greg the Hammer. It looks like Greg the Hammer and somebody. Can't tell who it is because I can't see their face, but yeah, Greg the Hammer. Here's one with Bruno Sammartino and Sergeant Slaughter, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, April 1981. With the pinup of Hulk Hogan. All the pinups are still in these magazines. A lot of people would pull them out. These ones all have the post thing still in the middle. Here's one from April 1983 with Morocco and Backlund. It's also got Inoki and Hogan winning the tag team title tournament, Grand Prix tournament in New Japan. I think they won it like 2 years in a row. 82 and 83, both Hogan and Inoki won the tournament. And then you got Jesse Ventura. This one's kind of not in the best shape. It's kind of falling apart there at the side, but Spring of 1982 Wrestling World. Then we got the premiere issue with Bob Backlund and Greg the Hammer Valentine. Premiere issue of Wrestling's Main Event. Then we got Inside Wrestling from December 1983 with the Wild Samoans and that on it. It looks like Jimmy Valiant and the Wild Samoans. Good issue. Here's The Wrestler from November 1985 with Hulk Hogan and Mr. Fuji on the cover. Here's one Wrestling's Main Event from November 1985 with the Road Warriors. Here's one Pro Wrestling Illustrated from February 83 with Dusty Rhodes and Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Got a pin up Ivan Putski in that issue. Here's Inside with Hulk Hogan, July 1982. Hogan and Nick Bockwinkel. Here is The Wrestler from October 1981. Here's a nice one with Ricky Steamboat on the front, fall 1981 Wrestling Superstars. July 1981, Sports Review Wrestling. January 1981, Sports Review Wrestling. This has got Pedro Morales. It looks like Tora Kamada. It's either Tora Kamada or one of the Samoans on the front with them. We got Wrestling Superstars from summer 1982. Here's one of my favorite covers. It's got Dusty Rhodes and Billy Graham in that bull rope match. Spring of 1981. I know that match didn't take place in 81. It was from late 1978 or whatever. They just showed it on the cover of this 81 magazine. But it's a pretty cool cover. I like that one. It's one of the issues I'm going to put aside to read. And then we got one here from July 1985 with WrestleMania with Hogan and Ali. Then you got Mike Von Erich on the cover of that one. Here's one with Ricky Steamboat from January 1983, Pro Wrestling Illustrated with Ken Patera pin-up inside the middle. Here's one from October of 85, with Michael Hayes. Here's one from July 1981, Inside Wrestling with Hulk Hogan and Bob Backlund on the cover. Here's one from April 1984, The Wrestler, Hulk Hogan's return to the WWF, What It Means to Wrestling issue, which is a pretty good issue of The Wrestler. Here's another issue of The Wrestler with Hulk Hogan from September of 85, which is what I'm going to put aside to read, because some of these I'm going to put aside and the rest I'm going to put away, but there's a few I want to put aside to read. And then we got one from The Rings Wrestling Sports, #1 magazine from October 1982. Inside Wrestling from November 1985 with Chris Adams and the Great Kabuki. Here's a pretty cool cover. This one's Wrestling Superstars with various wrestlers on it. Billy Jack Haynes, Tommy Rich, Hulk Hogan, Rick Martel, and Kevin Von Erich in the front of that one. Then we got another Pro Wrestling Illustrated with the Freebirds and Ken Patera and Pedro Morales from 1981. The pinup of Rick Steamboat in the middle of that one. Then we have one with Hulk Hogan and Pat Patterson on it from January 1981 with a Bruno Sammartino pinup in the middle. And then we got one from February 1981 with Andre and Pedro Morales. And more female apartment wrestling on the front of that one. Then we got one from Inside Wrestling from October 1981. July 1985, The Wrestler with Junkyard Dog. Here's one with another with Von Erich on it. This is from April 1984. Here's one with Rick Martel from December 1984, Sports Review Wrestling. Here's another one with Kerry Von Erich. This is from April 1985. Here's Sports Review from March 1982 with more like, with apartment wrestling, and then you got Greg the Hammer on that one. That one's in really, really good condition. That one's almost like mint. There's no bends or nothing in that one. Here's one from April 1982, The Wrestler. Here's one from March 1983 with Billy Graham when he was going through that, that karate gimmick when he had the bald hair after he didn't have his hair and he was this bald, and a terrible gimmick for Billy Graham. And then you got Inside Wrestling from October of 85 with the Russians on it. You got Barry Darsler that they go and play Demolition Smash in WWF. You got Ivan Koloff, who's actually Canadian. And you got Nikita Koloff. None of them guys are actually Russian. They just played Russian characters. And then you got another one from Inside Wrestling from August 1982, Andre the Giant. That's a pretty cool cover with Andre and the Masked Superstar in the front. And you got another one with Andre. This is Andre and Dusty Rhodes, the Wrestler, from September 1981, Bloody Dusty Rhodes. And then you got Andre and Harley Race. Here's one, I already own this issue, so this one will have doubles out. This is Hulk Hogan's one of his very first covers, I think, like by himself in the front. Pro Wrestling Illustrated from December 1982. And it's got the pin up at Rick Martel. A lot of times people would pull these out of the magazines back in the day. These are pretty cool. They have all the posters still inside, because a lot of times they would get pulled out. Here's another one from January of 85, The Wrestler with Von Erich and, Cyndi Lauper and Captain Lou Albano. Here's one from September 1983, Inside Wrestling with Sabesco and Rich. Got another one from April of 85 with the Road Warriors. Here's a pretty cool cover with Billy Graham and Kerry Von Erich from November 1984, Sports Review Wrestling. Here's the one with the Bloody Tony Atlas on the front from April 1981, Sports Review Wrestling. The thing with these older magazines that are really cool compared to the newer, they rate them. They're all written in kayfabe. Like they rate like it's actually happening. With these older ones, like they rate like it actually happened. They're all in kayfabe and everything, and they were great because it was before the internet. These wrestling magazines back then were so cool to collect. Then you got one with Ricky Steamboat from December 1984. I'm getting down to a very few here, guys. Got a very few left. Then we got another one from December 1981, Inside Wrestling with Andre the Giant and Killer Khan. And then you got Ernie Ladd. Wrestling Superstars from spring of 1982 with Morocco and Mil Mascaras. Here's the nice one with Harley Race in the cover from spring of 1982. That's a nice one. That one, some of these ones right here are like all mint condition, like no bends or nothing that rips. And these ones, they're all great condition. February 1984 with David Von Erich, and then you got Hulk Hogan down there. He is with Ric Flair, buddy Ric Flair. The Wrestler from November 1984, the Battle of the Full Nelson, Billy Jack Haynes Superstar, Billy Graham. Another Billy Graham, Billy Jack Haynes cover from around that period, from October of '84. Different issue. And then you got another one, Sports Review from April of '86 with Hogan and Savage. I think I actually own this issue, so that'll be another one I'll have doubles of, because there's some of these I don't have, and there's a few I do have. I have a lot of wrestling magazines too in my collection. And then we got another one from December of '81 with Morocco and Morales. Here's one with Nick Bockwinkel. This one's kind of got a little tear at the top, but from February of '83. Then we got another one from Wrestling World 1981 Annual with Nick Bockwinkel. The Wrestler from March of '84 with Hogan and Race on the cover. Here's one with all the Von Erichs on the front from September of '83 and Adrian Street at the top there at Dusty Rhodes. Here's one from September of '85 with Paul Orndorff. Here's another one with San Martino on the front from May of 1986, Sports Review Wrestling. Another Pro Wrestling Illustrated from September 1982 with Blackjack Mulligan Jr. pin up, which they mean Barry Windham. But I think that's when they were calling him Blackjack Mulligan Jr. in Florida. Yeah, there it is right there. Then we got another Wrestler from January of '81. Now these are all early '80s issues. All these issues like mid to early '80s. We got another Inside from March of 1982 with Backlund. This is one of my favorite covers here with all the champions on the cover, even though it does have a little tiny tear in the corner, but still a very nice cover with Rhodes, Nick Bockwinkel, and Bob Backlund from winter of 1981. Really nice cover. I like that one. And then we got November 1982 with Roddy Piper. And I also got this in the box too. This was in the bottom of it. I'm going to keep that to a WWF calendar from 2001 was in the bottom. WWF wrestling calendar from 2001, which is pretty cool. I have other wrestling calendars, so that'll go good with my other wrestling calendars in my collection. So anyways, guys, so there you go. So that's all the wrestling magazines. Again, I brought me the whole box. I thought I'd show them all off to you. All the ones I got. So, they're all, like I said, in pretty good condition. There's a few that's a little bit, banged up. You got to expect that for the raids. All, like I said, they're all early '80s issues. So there is going to be some that's not going to be in the best condition. But yeah. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video of all the wrestling magazines I got in, and I'll see you guys all in my next video. Bye.